Drake has always been the type of artist who seems untouchable, powerful, charismatic, and sitting at the top of hip-hop's hierarchy. But lately, his actions have left fans with more questions than answers. It all began with his unexpected collaborations with Aiden Ross, a popular streamer known for energetic, sometimes chaotic broadcasts. People wondered, why would Drake, a global superstar, choose to hang around live streams instead of focusing on building his musical catalog? At first, it looked like a quick publicity move, but as time went on, these appearances started revealing a very different side of Drake, one that is insecure, easily rattled, and surprisingly obsessed with Kendrick Lamar's every move. From the outside, Drake's life appears lavish and carefree, private jets, sold-out shows, and countless #1 hits. But behind this glamorous facade, something else is brewing. During his streams with Aiden Ross, Drake's comments about Kendrick Lamar have been anything but subtle. Observers have pointed out that the more he tries to seem laid back, the more he lets slip hints of envy and anxiety. It's as though every conversation eventually circles back to Kendrick, no matter the initial topic. Some fans believe Drake is trying to bury the hatchet and move on. Others insist he's still brooding over their supposed rivalry, unwilling to let go and fearful that Kendrick's success is overshadowing his own. But that's not the whole story. Aiden Ross is best known for gaming streams, off the cuff, banter, and comedic chats. He's not typically associated with the serious business of hip-hop feuds and behind-the-scenes drama. Yet here he is, sitting front and center with Drake, unintentionally drawing out Drake's underlying frustrations. During one stream, the two discussed a hypothetical boxing event. Aiden's brand has been drifting into influencer boxing, which is all the rage on social media. When asked who he'd fight, Drake appeared to freeze, stumbling over his words, before giving a vague answer that avoided naming anyone specifically. But it didn't take long for viewers to speculate that the name hovering on the tip of Drake's tongue was Kendrick Lamar. The awkward pause, the uneasy laugh, the immediate shift in tone. It looked like Drake came close to naming Kendrick, outright. From that point on, fans started paying closer attention to Drake's facial expressions. In moments when Kendrick's name is mentioned, Drake's usual easygoing smile disappears, replaced by something that can only be described as irritation. Aiden tried to steer the conversation towards safer territory. Video games, streaming numbers, even random talk about Aiden's personal life. Still, Drake kept returning to subtle and not-so-subtle digs, implying Kendrick's success might be manufactured or hyped up by the industry. While these remarks might sound like run-of-the-mill competitive banter, the persistence and the heat behind them reveal Drake's deeper anxieties. And what happened next would surprise even those who know Drake's history of rivalries. The more Drake attempted to downplay Kendrick's success, the more suspicious it appeared. When artists are genuinely unbothered, they don't need to harp on the subject. But here, Drake seemed determined to poke holes in Kendrick's stream, numbers, or question how organically Kendrick built his fan base. Some fans interpreted this as Drake simply trolling, a playful rivalry with no real malice. Others, though, saw real desperation. A man who once stood confidently at the pinnacle of rap, now threatened by another star's unstoppable rise. Whether you see it as banter or bitterness, it raised eyebrows across the internet. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar hasn't publicly responded. It's been radio silence on his end, at least for now. Instead, Kendrick focuses on creative projects, rumored new music, and live performances that attract massive crowds. His fans point to these sellout shows and genuine praise from critics as proof that Kendrick doesn't need to trash talk or demean others. If anything, the quiet confidence makes Drake's criticisms look even more out of place. While Kendrick is rumored to be planning something big, insiders saying it might be his most boundary-pushing work yet, Drake is entangled in streaming, sessions that come off more like a reality show than hip-hop's upper echelon. But that's just the surface. A growing number of people believe Drake's alignment with influencers like Aiden Ross is part of a strategic pivot. In an era where conventional album rollouts and radio spins matter less, streaming personalities hold immense sway. Aligning with them might expand Drake's brand beyond music. Perhaps it's a smart move, bridging the gap between rap's older guard and Gen Z's influencer culture. However, it also risks cheapening Drake's image, making him look more like a social media celebrity than the rap icon he once was. And the bigger question lingers. Does this pivot stem from a desire to evolve, or is it an act of desperation to remain relevant in Kendrick's looming shadow? Consider the legacy Drake once built. His discography is loaded with hits that topped global charts for weeks. He became a cultural touchstone with meme-worthy lyrics, anthems that shaped entire summers, and heartbreak songs that resonated across demographics. But in a genre that values authenticity, this repeated mention of fake streams and inflated numbers feels ironic, especially from someone accused of employing marketing tactics and radio deals to dominate the charts. Fans are quick to remember that Drake once used playlist albums and surprise drops to maintain buzz. Now to hear him suggest that Kendrick might be artificially pumping up streams could come off as hypocritical. It's a narrative that's tough to sell, especially when Kendrick rarely engages in these public disputes. It's interesting to note how the rest of the industry reacts. Publicly, many artists still show respect for Drake's influence, but behind the scenes, whispers suggest some have grown tired of the repeated digs at Kendrick. They see this as a one-sided obsession, with Drake fixated on a competitor who seems unconcerned. Meanwhile, references to Aiden Ross's comedic streams and Drake's humorous banter only paint Drake as losing the serious edge once associated with him. But that wasn't the whole story. The pivot from high-profile rap, star to part-time entertainer in front of a web camera may seem comical, but it has real repercussions for Drake's standing in hip-hop. Fans ask, how can someone claim the top spot in rap when they're spending more time gaming and trading jokes with YouTubers than crafting timeless music? Sure, it's possible to do both, but the tonal mismatch is jarring. Drake no longer feels like the moody, reflective artist who penned deeply personal lyrics. Instead, he seems more interested in amassing viral moments that might fade quickly in an environment where trends disappear overnight. Even so, Drake recently teased new music. Despite all the comedic bits and streaming antics, he insists he has something epic on the way. The question remains, will anyone take this new project seriously if he keeps trivializing his brand with petty insults and questionable alliances? Some fans argue that Drake is simply multidimensional, that he can engage with modern internet culture while still crafting hits. Others feel it's a sign he's losing focus, terrified that Kendrick's reputation for lyrical genius and artistic depth will eclipse any pop-centric track Drake releases. At the end of the day, chart toppers don't necessarily outlast truly groundbreaking projects. Still, let's not forget that Drake is a master at controlling narratives. For years, he swayed public perception with carefully placed references, cryptic lyrics, and subtle social media moves. He's built entire album campaigns around feuds, some real, some exaggerated. Could this be another elaborate ploy to generate publicity for his upcoming album? Possibly. But if so, it's a risky gamble. Fans these days are more skeptical than ever, and a strategy that revolves around belittling another artist can backfire. If the new music fails to measure up, Drake risks looking insecure, attempting to tear down a peer rather than excelling on his own merit. On the other side, Kendrick Lamar's supporters argue that he doesn't need to engage in this war of words. His music and legacy stand on their own. From Pulitzer Prize recognition to universal critical acclaim, he's consistently praised for artistic depth. Many believe Drake sees this praise as a direct threat to his mainstream dominance. After all, their styles couldn't be more different. Kendrick is lauded for introspective storytelling, while Drake's signature has often been catchy hooks and a refined pop-rap blend. But now that the market is shifting towards more thoughtful, eclectic rap, Drake's brand might appear less cutting-edge. Fans notice, and so do industry gatekeepers. One thing is certain, Drake's new era is unfolding in real time for everyone to witness, and it's packed with drama. The comedic banter, the underhanded references, the restless energy during Aiden Ross's streams, all paint a picture of a superstar who's no longer as unflappable as he once appeared. There's a fascination in seeing the cracks in his composure, especially knowing how meticulously Drake once managed his image. Now the question is how he'll use this moment. Will he pivot, create something extraordinary that silences the skeptics, or double down on petty feuds? And that brings us to where it all might end, or possibly begin again. Drake has teased fresh material. Kendrick is rumored to have new work on the horizon, and fans are bracing for what could be the biggest rap clash in years. Meanwhile, Aiden Ross goes on streaming, joking about becoming an OVO member, with Drake's occasional appearances further fanning the flames. Perhaps we're in the midst of a pivotal turning point that could redefine each artist's legacy. The next few months will be telling. We'll see if Drake can resist the urge to throw more jabs at Kendrick. We'll find out if Kendrick chooses to respond or remains quietly confident. We'll discover if the once-adored Drake truly is losing the plot, or if he's unveiling a strategic masterstroke that will keep him on top. In the end, what's clear is that Drake's entanglement with Aiden Ross wasn't just a moment of internet fun. It morphed into a spectacle that laid bare deeper wounds and obsessions. Even casual observers can't help but notice how often Drake returns to the topic of Kendrick Lamar, directly or indirectly. For an artist who once portrayed himself as above petty spats, the constant references feel like a revelation. And as more fans catch on, the conversation continues to escalate. The future is uncertain, but one thing is for sure. This rivalry, fueled by streaming jokes, alleged jealousy, and big questions about authenticity, has enough intrigue to keep the hip-hop community buzzing. So, what's your take on all of this? Are we witnessing the downfall of Drake's credibility, or is he cleverly playing the internet for maximum exposure? Could Kendrick's silence be the biggest flex of all, or should he finally speak up and settle the score? Let your thoughts be heard. Maybe Drake recovers with an album so powerful it shuts everyone up. Maybe Kendrick's next release overshadows everything else. Or maybe we see an entirely new chapter unfold, with Drake fully embracing the influencer lifestyle and leaving behind the gritty heart of hip-hop. If you've stuck around until now, you're clearly just as fascinated by this twisted drama as I am. Whatever happens next, it's bound to shake up the conversation in music and beyond. After all, rivalries are part of rap's DNA, but rarely do they bleed into mainstream influencer culture like this. Stay tuned, because one thing's certain. In the ongoing saga of Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, the tension is far from over, and the next move could very well flip everything we thought we knew on its head.